Hi, my name is Connor Petrey. I'm with Cinefied.com. I had a chance to see the film over the weekend, and I just had such a blast with it. It's such a fun film to watch, and it's one that you could see yourself watching over and over again, just because of how kind of like comforting it is almost with the nostalgic coming of age story. So congratulations. I should have said that from the top on the film and getting into South by. I mean, we're just a few days away. How does it feel to have the film premiering in a couple days?
It's so crazy.
The idea that this film is going to have such a crowd at South, it's a guaranteed crowd because that's South by Southwest is such a huge event, and what makes this film in all of your eyes a film to see with a crowd in a theater?
Oh, well, it's a comedy. And everybody knows comedy's better when everybody's laughing around you. Kate and I feel very strongly that like watching comedies in theaters is one of the best things you can do in your life. And so we're very excited for that experience.
Yeah, it's I mean it's definitely going to get a huge crowd reaction because it's just there's so many fun moments in this, and one of the things that I really enjoyed was the way that this was cut together, the editing. And I was wondering because you have those really unique and fun animations, and then you also have like a lot of fun like snaps, like cuts, and it reminded kind of like Edgar Wright, like Scott Pilgrim kind of editing, like with the pacing and just the fun. And I'm wondering, were those edits in the original script or were those figured out in post?
Yes. I think Megan and I like went in trying to be very intentional of our like transitions, and then you like get into post and things don't work, and some things do work and some things don't, and then you have to like figure out new and new ways to like get yourself out of this corner that you like painted yourself into during production. And like animations were certainly like one of those things that like we had talked about it going in, but we were not planning to do that. And then during post, we had kind of like discovered this way to incorporate it, and we felt like it really added to the movie and didn't necessarily. Sometimes I think when early on when we were talking about it, kind of detracted from it a bit. And in the end, I think that they like really added to it in a fun way that is very unique and very cool.
And I am curious, the origin of Edie as a loser. What spawned the idea for this film?
Yeah, so I wrote it like 10 years ago. And like Edie, I went to an all-girls Catholic school in Miami, Florida. And also like Edie, I was kind of a loser. And so I think when I was writing this, I was like working through a little bit of that and just writing like mean little jokes about girls who were mean to me. And then I kind of like put it in a drawer and forgot about it. And then when Cade and I were looking for a script to direct together, I just kind of like pulled it out and tossed it his way, like whatever. And then we read it and we were both like, wait a second, maybe this is good.
When you pulled it out, because you said it was 10 years ago, like were there really any updates you had to make? Because it does feel kind of like it is a bottled like comedy. Like it doesn't necessarily have like a time. It feels kind of like maybe like the 2000s, maybe like the early 2010s. But I was just wondering, were there any updates that you had to do?
There weren't really any updates that we had to do. And we did want to be conscious of like we didn't want it to be a period piece. We didn't want it to be like set in the 2000s. But we also like didn't want to incorporate elements of the world right now that we kind of like don't like or find interesting. Like there's not a lot of social media in it because I don't like it. But they still have like cell phones because like they would have cell phones. So we tried to just be like it takes place now, but we're not seeing the stuff that makes it now.
The From an actor's standpoint, what drew you to this material?
I think the concept was like really what like initially drew me in. The like little description on the casting call. I remember telling all my friends like, "Oh, this is going to be really good and cool." And then I think the writing was kind of like what like kept me there or like kept me excited. The writing in the script is like really phenomenal and very authentic, and it feels really like real, like a real high school experience. Plus, it's so funny. Like, so I think the story's just really cool, and I like love the writing.
Do you feel the same, McKenna?
Yeah, I feel like when I watch a lot of movies about teenagers, it's like, were the writers ever teenagers? Like, when does this happen? You know, and this story just felt so genuine and authentic, and like getting to see girls in a way that I've experienced girls most of the time, where like we're actually real weird and like awkward and kind of gross and like funny. And I feel like most of the time we don't get to see that version of women portrayed, especially young women in films. So seeing this script that was so funny and so smart, getting to show real girls was so attractive.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see the draw with this because yeah, it definitely seems to tell us a coming of age story that feels very much like I mean we've seen stories like this, but they're so far in between that when they come to our screen, you just have to really appreciate their existence, especially when they're done so well, such as this film. And I am curious because this is a coming of age story. And as I kind of went over, I'm a sucker for a coming of age story. Like I could go on and on about, Ferris Bueller or Edge of 17, Napoleon Dynamite. You got long range. But I'm curious, for all of you, is there a certain coming of age story that really hits home for you that is like maybe just it might be a comfort or could have inspired your performance or your writing, your direction?
I really love the coming of age genre as well. And it's, you mentioned Edge of 17. That was like the first thing that came to my mind. I love that movie. I remember when I saw it, just like it like brought me to tears. I like connected with it so deeply. I think that there are, I don't know, it's just such a good one. I love Edge of 17.
Yeah, it's a delightful film. It's one of my favorites of all
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, it's so good.
Watching Superbad, um, I feel like the dynamic, like obviously that's such like a big, like that's not real life, but like the way that all the like teenagers talk to each other felt so like authentic, and like the friendships felt so real in a way that I feel like Edie Arnold kind of has that similar heart. Um, yeah, and it's funny. It's really funny.
For me, Lady Bird, I remember watching Lady Bird and being like, what the hell? You bugged my life. Like every aspect of it, down to what they're wearing is like what I wore to my high school. Um, and that actually like presented a unique challenge for us in like directing this movie because there are similarities just in like setting and character that we just really wanted to make sure right out the gate that it was not like we're not doing a ladybird, I promise. And so Kate and I were like very conscious of that, especially in like that opening mother-daughter car scene. Like they both open with a mother-daughter car scene, and Kate and I were like, how can we make sure right out the gate that we differentiate ourselves from that genre? Because I feel like they're both in the same genre, but I think they occupy very different stylistic places. So that was one that like it holds a special place in my heart, and it also tortured me a little bit when we were in pre-pro for this.
For me, it was growing up. It was Napoleon Dynamite because it was. I guess it was maybe less so the story because like I grew up. I'm from Idaho, but I like grew up in the city, so I can't really resonate with like growing up on a farm with a llama. But like the fact that these guys from Idaho made this movie and it became like this huge sensation, it like opened my eyes to like, oh, this is like a viable thing. That I guess people paid them to make this weird, dumb little movie, and maybe we could go and do that. And then we did, and hopefully people pay us for it.
The relationship between Edie and Francis is very authentically shown on screen. Like it feels like their contrast in personalities feels like a genuine like friendship. I was wondering, what did that chemistry come natural on set, or did you guys know each other ahead of time? Because it felt very
Uh,
natural.
we met during callback auditions. And so I think there was like a very natural element to it. We kind of like we shared a moment during our callbacks during a scene we were running. It's the scene where they're like making up a song with Iggy at the pizza place. Um, and it's like right after Iggy yells boner and like walks away. And McKenna and I just kind of locked eyes and it was like sparks. We were like, this is, I don't know. We talked about this after. We just like both felt this like connection during that moment. But I think beyond that, during like rehearsals, we were pretty intentional about getting to know each other just as ourselves, not just as our characters. And so we would like stay after and chat for several hours. And so then by the time we got to filming, I think we had already like established some of a connection, and I think we just continued to bond over the course of filming.
Yeah, I felt like it was very natural, our friendship. It felt just very easy and magical, I might say. Like from the first time that like when we did rehearsals and we just started talking, it didn't feel like meeting someone for the first time. It felt like catching up with a friend you already have. Um, and also, because I was still in high school while doing it, I imagine that Edie and Francis bonded in PE because it was so stupid. Because I was all alone in PE, and I was like, man, I wish Addie was here right now.
And one of my other favorite things about the film are we get these band performances, and the songs are catchy, and they're very rapid paced, and I was just wondering what went into like writing, composing, recording, like what the whole band element of this, what went into that?
Crazy. We had never like done anything like that before, so it was like certainly a learning process. We worked with Megan's cousin, who's a musician, and he's like extremely talented. And yeah, we kind of just talked to him about like, hey, we're trying to like do this thing. Could you like write a song for it? And then he sent us like a scratch track, and Megan and I were both like, this is like actually good.
Yeah, he kind of nailed it. He kind of nailed it like first pass, no notes almost. Like Kate and I, we're not musicians, and so our approach to it was like we were kind of like lost a little bit. But we did know like what the songs needed to accomplish within the framing of like the narrative. And so we had conversation with him, Nicholas Balsero. He wrote all of like band's original songs. We had conversations with him about like what we wanted them to say sort of. And then him and I spoke further about like lyrics and stuff. And then yeah, he just sent us a scratch track, and we're like, cool, this is good. This is it. Like no notes.
And I'll just close it with this. As I just the way this film ends, I cannot wait for a packed audience to get that laugh, because that made me laugh so hard. The way this that's the way any comedy should end, is on like that strong of a note.